Hello everyone. Today we are going to study the chapter Plant Growth and Development. All right. So when we talk about plant, what do you understand by growth and development in plants basically? So जब हम animals की भी बात करते हैं, so there are growth and development in animals as well. But in animals, it is very much evident, which is very much visible, you can see. For example, when we grow, when we are small, then we start growing. From there, how we develop into an individual, the entire growth can be distinctly visible. But plants में ऐसा नहीं होता है. So plants में what do we see? When we see that there is a small plant which is growing and it is developing into a tree, which you can see here. So what are the things which are visible in trees? Basically, you can see that the height of the particular tree is increasing. You can also see that there is increase in the girth, or you can say the thickness basically. All right. So these are the features which you can see. But apart from that, is the growth only limited to height increase or increase in the girth? No. सिर्फ हाइट में इंक्रीज हो रहा है या गर्थ या थिकनेस ऑफ द प्लांट में इंक्रीज हो रहा है, इससे हम ये नहीं कह सकते कि दिस इज just the growth and the development. There are some other factors as well. So let's study that as well for today. All right. So when we talk about plants, we see that we sow a seed in the soil. Okay. We keep a seed in the soil. And what happens after that? Once you provide them with all the necessary condition, it will turn into seedling, right? The seedlings are going to come out, which you can see here. And then you can see the plantlets are going to come in the form of leaves. All right, you can see a visible leaves coming out of the seed. And once the plantlet has grown, it further develops into a plant which is fully grown. You can see the flowers over there. You will see the fruits and everything would be seen. All right. So what happens after the plant grows fully? Then after that, it is going to mature. And post-mature, it will undergo senescence. So basically, what is senescence basically is, it is aging, and it is moving into aging, and finally you will see that the plant dies. So death of the plant is being determined, right? So this entire phase from the seed to seedling, and then from seedling to plantlets, and plantlets to plant which is grown fully, and then finally it will lead to maturation, senses, and finally it will lead to death. So these entire things which you can see is basically will involve growth and development. However, we also see that there is a development of zygote. Okay. This zygote further develops into an embryo. Okay. Embryo is nothing but the developing plant, which is present inside the seed, which you have studied in your previous chapter under flowering plants, right? So this embryo, this baby plant is present inside the seed, and then again the entire phenomena takes place. So this entire phase from this growth and development will be studied in this chapter. Okay. So let's understand, there are few things which we should understand, that there are so many things happening. बहुत सारी चीजें हो रही है plants में, seedling हो रहा है, प्लांटलेट्स डेवलप हो रहे हैं, मैच्योर प्लांट्स बन रहे हैं, एंड देयर इज कॉन्टिन्यूअस इंक्रीज इन द हाइट एंड गर्थ ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. ये सारी चीजें हम देखते हैं. हाउएवर, अगर हम देखें लीव्स, फ्लावर्स एंड फ्रूट्स ऑफ द सेम ट्री नॉट ओनली हैव अ लिमिटेड डायमेंशन, इनका डायमेंशन ना ही लिमिटेड होता है बट ऑल्सो अपीयर्स टू फॉलो अ पीरियोडिक एंड समटाइम्स रिपीटेड. तो ये काफी बार क्या हो जाता है, ये कई बार they are going to fall off as well after a certain period of time, but there are certain parts which will not. So this is what we need to understand, why such phenomena is happening. Okay. So let's understand, all plant organs are made up of varieties of tissues. We all know that all living beings are made up of cell, and you know that group of cell is going to form tissue. So all plant organs are made up of tissue. Okay. And it also, there is a relationship between the structure of the cell and a tissue and an organ and the function they perform. So definitely there is a connection between the structure of the cell. It's not that cell apna kaam kare, tissue and organ system apna kuch kare. It's not like that. They are always in coordination. So can the structure and the function of these be altered? Can we change this, or can there be an alteration? So all cells of the plants are descendant of zygotes. This is important. They are descendant of zygote, means they have developed from the zygote. Just now I have told you that they are going to develop from zygote. Zygote is going to form embryo, and this embryo formation will take place by the process known as Embryogenesis. Embryogenesis is the process by which the zygote is going to form an embryo. Okay. And this embryo is the baby plant which is present inside the seed, basically. Okay. So now what happens is the development. What is basically a development is? So we know that the cells of the plants are developed from a zygote. Okay. Now what is basically this development is? How are the structural and functional things are happening? How are these things are getting developed? So development is the sum of two processes. What are the two processes? Growth and differentiation. The two things are going to form during the development. One is your growth and the other one is your differentiation. Okay, you have heard about this term differentiation in the chapter tissue, grade 9. What is differentiation basically? When the plant is not able to divide anymore, the cells are not able to divide anymore, they are going to take up a permanent shape, size and function. And that is known as differentiation. Okay, we will study about this in details in this chapter. All right. So to begin with, it is essential and sufficient to know that the development of a mature plant from zygote follow a precise and a highly ordered succession of events. So this maturation does not take place haphazardly. Definitely a sequence follow hota hai. There are few steps which are getting formed. It's not that we have developed directly. We have developed from a baby to an adult. It's not like that. There are different phases, right? So same thing happens in plants also. And what happens during this process now? This is important. During this process, a complex body organization is formed. Okay. A complex body organization is going to form, and those complex organization kya banayenge? Roots, leaves, branches, flowers, fruits and seeds. And eventually what will happen is once they have developed into all these structures, they will die. They will undergo census and finally they are going to die. The first step in the process of plant growth is seed germination. That's what we have just discussed. The seed is going to form and the seed is going to germinate and it's going to give you the seedlings. Okay. So seed germination will happen only when there is a favorable condition given to the seed for the growth and to survive in the given environment. Okay. So what will happen if there is absence of favorable condition? क्या होगा अगर हमने favorable condition नहीं दिया हो? They will not germinate definitely and goes into a period of suspended growth and rest. So they are going to be dormant. So what will happen? They will undergo dormancy. Dormancy is nothing but they will be inactive. This is important. They are going to be inactive if they don't get favorable conditions. So we have to ensure that the seed needs all the necessary things which are required, and that has to be provided. Okay. So what are the things we have to study in this chapter? We will study about the factors which enhances the growth and development and developmental process. And those factors are intrinsic, which is internal, and extrinsic to the plants. We will study about this in this entire chapter. So what are the important takeaways from this paragraph is how the plant development is taking place, how the plants have developed from the zygote, and what is basically this development is. It is a complex process or a complex body organization is formed that produces root, leaves, branches, flowers, fruits, and seeds. Okay. And how germination, after germination, how the germination takes place under favorable condition. Let's understand the other part of this particular chapter. Okay. Now, when we talk about growth, what are we talking about? We need to understand what is development, what is growth. Let's understand about this topic in details. All right. So let's go ahead. Now, we need to understand this is the picture of a germination and seedling development in beans. Okay. You can see how the seed has developed into root and the shoot, how hypocotyle is responsible for the development of the root system and epicotyle is responsible for the development of shoot system, and how phase by phase the entire plant has grown from a seed. So this is basically germination and seedling. Now, when we talk about growth, what is growth basically? What do you know about growth? Which is like, can we increase in height? Okay. What are the other factors which we will understand? So growth is regarded as one of the most fundamental and conspicuous character of the living being. When we talk about living being, we know that there should be growth. Unless that, we cannot determine whether it is living or non-living. So it is this one of the visible characteristics you can say, which is responsible to determine that anything is living or non-living. Okay. Now let's understand what is growth. The definition has been given in the NCERT. Growth can be defined as irreversible. You cannot go back. Once you have grown up, you cannot go back, right? So irreversible, permanent. It is definitely permanent, and there is increase in size of an organ. There will be increase in size of the organ and its parts, or even of an individual cell. So there will be increase in size. It can be increase in size of an organ. It can be increase in size of a parts of an individual cell. So what happens in growth? Growth is permanent. It is irreversible. These are the two features. Generally, growth is accompanied by metabolic process. You know that metabolic processes are important for the body to work. All these metabolic processes are having in living beings as well. So metabolic process will include anabolic and catabolic. You must have studied in chemistry also anabolic and catabolic process. Anabolic is basically constructive process. Again, catabolic is breakdown process. Catabolic can be seen during respiration. Okay. What happens during respiration? We all know that the food is broken down, right? The food, or you can say the glucose, is broken down in the presence of oxygen. We break the glucose in the presence of oxygen to release energy. So energy will be formed in case of catabolic. However, in anabolic, energy is utilized. Just understand, energy is utilized. It is used basically. So we can also say that anabolic process is happening in the greater ratio than the catabolic process. I hope this is clear. What is catabolic? You have studied in respiration. What happens is the glucose which is formed after digestion, it is broken down in presence of oxygen to release energy. So this breakdown process is basically your catabolic. Okay. Anabolic is making basically. However, it is utilization of energy is anabolic. Okay. So this occurs at the expense of energy, definitely. So therefore, for an example, expansion of leaf is a growth. So let's take an example, expansion of the leaf. The leaf was such a small in the beginning. However, it just grew up like this, and the structure, there is expansion of the growth in the leaf. So how would you describe the swelling of a piece of wood when placed in water? No, definitely it is not a kind of growth. You will see it is just has absorbed the water and the size has increased, but we cannot consider it as a growth. Okay. So plant growth generally is indeterminate. Very important point. What is indeterminate? Keep on growing. It will keep on growing, which will ensure that what is happening? The plant is growing continuously, but in animals, the growth is determinate. So we can say that in animals, we don't follow this interminate. Okay. So we do not follow this. Why is that? Because if we follow this indeterminate fashion, then though we will be crossing this floor also, we won't be able to adjust in our room also. Okay. So plant growth is unique because plant retains the capacity of unlimited growth. It will keep on growing throughout the life. That is basically indeterminate. This ability of the plant is due to, what do you think? Why the plant is growing continuously, unlimitedly? That is due to the presence of meristematic tissue, which you have studied in grade 9th, right? So what is meristematic tissue? This is the tissue which is responsible for the growth of the plant, okay? The cells of the meristematic tissue have the capacity to divide and self-perpetuate, okay? So they are able to grow continuously. The product, however, soon loses the capacity to divide, okay? So they will lose the capacity to divide only when they will have to convert it into a permanent tissue, okay? So they will lose the capacity to divide, and such cells makes up the plant body. So how is the other plant body is going to be determined? Only after these cells have lost the capacity to divide. And this forms the growth wherein new cells are always being added to the plant body. So what is happening is, if I talk about this is the plant body, and this plant body is continuously growing, okay? So now what happens is there is increase in the number of cell in the plant. Increase in the number of cells. Now this increase in the number of cells is basically making the plant open form of growth. So we can say that plant is showing an open form of growth. Okay, very, very important term. So when we see that there is new cells which are always being added to the plant body by the activity of meristem. Why these new cells are getting added? Due to the presence of meristem, and we are calling it as an open form of growth. This can be called as open form of growth. Okay, so what would happen if the meristem ceases to divide? Does this ever happen? Now, what will happen if the meristem does not divide? Definitely, there will be a time when they will not divide. It is not that they will continuously divide and divide. They are going to divide again. They are going to form some permanent tissues also. Okay. So in earlier classes, we have studied about the root apical and the shoot apical. So when we talk about a plant, or for initially, it will be an undifferentiated mass of cell. It will be like this, undifferentiated mass of cell, which will further, what is going to happen is, this is known as the callus. Okay, this will known as the callus. Now, this undifferentiated mass of cell will also have certain specialized kind of tissues over there. So what they are going to do is, they are going to form apical root system, and you can also say apical shoot system. So they will give a rise to these two kind of system. Okay, you can write it as AR, apical root system, and apical shoot system. Okay, so this is basically is, but how do they grow and how do they differentiate, that we need to understand. Okay, so when we know that they are responsible for the primary growth of the plant and principal contribution to the elongation. How are they responsible? They are responsible for the elongation of the plant along their axis. So you can see this image over here. Shoot apical meristem, root apical meristem, which are responsible for the formation of root and the shoot. However, you can see vascular cambium in between. So they are basically responsible for the secondary growth in the plant. So we need to understand what is primary growth and what is secondary growth. Primary growth is the things, basically primary growth are the one which are basic in requirement, like the root and the shoot. But when we talk about secondary growth, that is going to happen after a certain period of time. When the plant is completely grown, it has turned into a tree. So secondary growth is an outward growth of the plant, making it thicker and wider. So main role of the secondary growth is to make the plant thicker and wider. Secondary growth is important to the woody plants. When the plant has turned into a woody plant, because they grow much taller than the other plants. So since they are growing much taller, so secondary growth is mostly visible in the woody plants, and when they need more support in their stem and the root. Lateral meristems are the dividing cells in the secondary growth, which produces secondary tissue. This is very, very important, that the lateral, there are three meristems: apical, lateral, and intercalary. Okay, so this lateral meristem is going to divide, are the dividing cells in the secondary growth, which produces secondary tissues. Secondary tissues will be responsible for thickness of the plant and the wider variety. Okay, so when we talk about the primary growth of the plant, are principally contributes to elongation. That means elongation is responsible for the lengthwise growth of the plant. And we have also known that the dicotyledonous plant and gymnosperms, where you can see that the lateral vascular cambium and the cord cambium appears later in life. It will not appear initially, but they are going to occur at the later stage of their life. So these are the meristem that causes increase in girth, that will increase in thickness of an organ in which they are active, and we can call them as secondary growth of the plant. So what is responsible for secondary growth? Lateral meristem, vascular cambium, and cord cambium, okay, which will appear later in the life, but that is responsible for the secondary growth of the plant. Okay. And they are mostly responsible for giving thickness or thicker or wider width to the plant, basically. Okay. Now, growth is measurable. When I say growth is measurable, how are you going to measure? Okay. Now, when we talk in plants, growth at a cellular level, when we see at the cellular level, there is increase in the amount of protoplast. Okay. There is increase in the amount of protoplasm. What is protoplasm? Nucleus and the cytoplasm. Okay. Nucleus and the cytoplasm. That is your protoplasm. But the problem is this increase in the amount of protoplasm would be very difficult to measure. So what can we do for that? We cannot measure that. One of the greatest problem is measuring would be quite difficult, more or less would be very difficult. So how do we measure them? So growth is therefore measured by varieties of parameter. Let's understand what are the different parameters basically. Some of which can be like increase in fresh weight. This is very important. Then dry weight, length, area, volume, and cell number. Okay. So it can be increase in the length, it could be increase in the area, volume, and cell number. These are the parameters based on which we have to measure the growth. Okay. So there are few evidences which we can see that like in Zea mays, what happens is in maize, one single maize root apical meristem, basically, RAM. You can write it as RAM, root apical meristem. One single root apical meristem can give a rise to more than 17,500 new cell per hour. Per hour, it is going to give you 17,500 new cells. So this is basically your root apical meristem. One single maize or like one single maize root apical meristem can give you 17,500 new cells. Whereas when we talk about watermelon, may increase in size up to 350,000 times. Okay. So these are some of the examples which we can see that how the cell growth is happening. We will discuss about how the growth is happening exponentially or geometrically, arithmetically. We will study in this chapter itself. So growth is expressed as increase in number of cell. The later expresses growth as increase in size of the cell. Okay. So it can be increase in number of the cell, size of the cell, while the growth in pollen tube. If we talk about a pollen tube like this, what is happening is in the pollen tube is measured in terms of length. How much length it has increased, and increase in surface area denotes the growth of dorsiventral leaf. So different structure, so different parameters to judge. Cell number it could be, volume it could be, area it could be. So based on different factors, we have to measure the growth, not on the basis of protoplasm. All right. So next we will move on to the phases of growth. Phases of growth is how different. So like in, if we talk about humans also, there are different phases like how we grow from the childhood to the later childhood, and then to the adolescence, and then to the maturation or mature person. How we grow, the same thing happens in the plants also. Phases of growth includes the period of growth is generally divided into three phases: meristematic, elongation, and maturation. Now let's understand what happens during these three phases. Okay. So let us have a look at the root tip. Okay. What happens is the constantly dividing cells, both at the root apex and the shoot apex, represent the meristem or meristematic phase of growth. We know that at the root apex and the shoot apex, we have meristematic tissues. The cells in this region are rich in protoplasm. Absolutely, they will be rich in protoplasm. You know that what is protoplasm? Cytoplasm plus nucleus. Large conspicuous nuclei. You can absolutely have a look at the nuclei. The cell walls are primary in nature, thin and cellulosic with abundance of plasmodesmatal connection. Plasmodesmatal connection is nothing but cell-to-cell connection is the plasmodesmatal connection. When the two cells are connected by a connector known as plasmodesmata, the cells proximal, that is just next away from the tip to the meristematic zone, represents the phase of elongation. So after meristematic zone, after that there will be elongation phase. What happens during elongation phase is There is increase in vacuolation. There will be a lot of vacuoles. Okay, but in the meristematic times, you will not find any vacuoles over there. You will find an abundance of vacuoles in the elongation phase. Okay, the cell enlargement, you can see a new cell wall depositions are the characteristics of elongation phase. Okay, so these are number one is increase in vacuolation, that is formation of vacuoles, cell enlargement, new cell wall depositions. Okay, these are the features. Further away from the apex, that is more proximal to the phase of elongation, lies the portion of axis which is undergoing a phase of maturation. Now, after elongation, there will be another phase which is going to mark the end of the growth is maturation. The cells of this zone attain their maximum size to in terms of wall thickening and protoplasmic modifications will be there in case of maturation. Most of the tissues and the cell types have been studied in earlier classes. You have studied this in the previous topic. So we should know what happens in maturation. Maturation will lead to maximizing the size of the cells and there will be thickening in the walls. Okay. So I hope the topics are clear till here, whatever we have done over here. So we are stopping the lecture here. Let's meet in the next session. Thank you.